Put aside for a moment everything you have been taught about money needing to be portable, and imagine that the most valuable thing you own never moves from its place, yet it still belongs to you. You can sell it, gift it, inherit it, and the entire community accepts this without question. Ownership exists without movement, and value exists without touch, which feels impossible in the modern world. On the island of Yap, people built exactly such a system. Giant stone discs called rice stones weighed hundreds of kilos, some taller than a human. Moving them was nearly impossible, yet these stones functioned exactly like money. They stood in villages, on shores, in forests, never moving, yet constantly changing owners through collective agreement. How was this possible? Because the value was not inside the stone itself. The value lived inside people's minds. The entire community collectively remembered who gave which stone to whom and when. This shared memory functioned like a flawless accounting ledger, stronger than any written contract or digital database we use today. There was no server, no central bank, no official registry, but everyone agreed, and because there was agreement, the system worked. This leads us to a dangerous conclusion. Money is not matter. Money is a social technology. When people hear this, their brains resist because we are used to holding money physically. On Yap, people never put money in their pockets because it was impossible. They remembered their money instead. They remembered ownership. This system worked flawlessly for centuries. Trust was not stored in documents, it was stored in collective memory. Society itself became the ledger, and everyone acted as a guardian of the system, until someone from outside arrived. When Europeans came to the island, they did not understand this system at first, but soon they discovered its weak point. The value of the stones was not their size, but the effort required to obtain them. Large stones came from distant islands through dangerous journeys. Boats sank, storms swallowed travelers, and people died at sea. The risk was enormous, and it was precisely this danger that gave the stones their value. Then Europeans arrived with steel tools. Suddenly extracting stones became easier, risk decreased, labor became cheaper, and meaning inflation silently began within the system. Because now anyone could produce stones, rarity disappeared. The story behind the stones slowly died. People realized the stones were no longer special, and when the story disappeared, the value collapsed. This teaches us a brutal lesson. Value is not inside objects. Value lives inside stories people collectively believe. Now think about NFTs, a digital image, a digital file on a screen. Technically, it can be copied endlessly, yet people pay millions for it. Why? Because they believe in the story. This is original. This is rare. This is history. But rarity is not inside the code itself. Rarity exists in agreement. Just as Yap stones worked, NFTs work with the same logic. The stone stayed in place, but its owner changed. The NFT stays on the blockchain, but ownership changes. Both systems rely on collective confirmation. Both are living ledgers supported by shared belief. The only difference is technology. The core mechanism is the same. If people believe in the story, the system lives. If they stop believing, the system dies. This leads us to a disturbing thought. The entire financial system is a massive test of belief happening every single day. When you swipe your bank card, you believe the numbers behind it are real. When you buy crypto, you believe that code will hold value tomorrow. When you buy an NFT, you believe someone will pay more later. The moment belief collapses, the system falls apart like a house of cards. On Yap, the system collapsed with steel tools. In crypto markets, systems collapse with speculation. When people believe in getting rich fast, bubbles inflate. When belief fades, everything crashes. This is not only economic, it is psychological. Human emotion always drives market behavior. The human brain works with stories. Money itself is a story. Whoever controls the story controls value. Once the church controlled heaven, then states controlled national currencies. Now technology companies control the future. This token will free you. This platform will save you. People invest into stories again, because money is emotional, not rational. On Yap, people also acted emotionally. When they said this stone was brought with legendary effort, everyone agreed. In NFT markets, when they say this project is revolutionary, everyone buys. Belief moves markets far more than logic ever could. The dangerous part is that this system cannot be verified. No one returns from the future saying, this NFT worked. Just like no one on Yap could prove a stone would hold value forever. Everything depended on belief. When belief becomes a market, manipulation becomes inevitable. What happens if people stop believing in blockchain one day? Tokens remain as numbers on screens, just like Yap stones became meaningless rocks. This sounds scary, but it already happened many times in history. Currencies collapsed, empires fell, and people lost everything overnight. Every time the same question emerged, what do we believe in? And when belief changed, markets changed. Because markets are maps of human fear and hope. Yap Island proved this long ago. They created ownership without movement. Today we create wealth without touch. But the mechanism is identical. If there is a story, there is value. If the story dies, value dies. That is why modern finance did not invent blockchain. It simply transferred ancient invisible ownership logic into digital code. What once lived in memory now lives in servers, but the principle remains unchanged. Now with phones in our pockets, we are heirs of Yap. We carry screens instead of stones, servers instead of communities, but belief is the same. Humans want safety, fear the future, and crave control. Money remains the strongest tool to manage these emotions across generations. On Yap, stones gave security. Today, numbers do. Tomorrow, something else will. Because financial history is not linear, it is a clock mechanism. Gears change, but springs remain. Once stone, then gold, then paper, now code. But the spring never changes. Fear and power. Whoever tightens this spring controls the system. That is the dark truth behind all currencies. Humans think they control money, but in reality, money controls humans through belief. This hidden mechanism has shaped wars, revolutions, and empires. Yet most people never question it deeply. Now step back. This mechanism is not limited to Yap. Humans always value invisible things. Honor, status, faith, reputation. You cannot touch them, yet they change lives. Money belongs to this category. If money were just metal, wars wouldn't be fought over it. If money were just paper, people wouldn't lose sleep at night. Money is a symbol loaded with human fear, desire, and hope. On Yap, stones were symbols filled with history. My grandfather died bringing this stone. This stone paid for a marriage. Stories defined price. This is branding. Why is one shirt $100 and another $10? Fabric is the same. Stitching is the same. Story is different. Humans pay for meaning, not material. This mechanism has not changed for thousands of years. Only the tools and platforms have evolved. Back then, stories spread by word of mouth. Now they spread through social media. Elders acted as ledgers. Now servers do. But the principle is identical. If the crowd agrees, value exists. If the crowd doubts, value disappears. That is why panic is so dangerous. When panic starts, no logic saves you. Europeans made stone production easy. People stopped seeing stones as special. The same thing happens today in crypto. Thousands of tokens appear daily. Unique loses meaning. Meaning inflation begins quietly, destroying belief from within. Too many stories kill belief. The system thinks it grows, but it actually destroys itself. Stones increased, value dropped. Human psychology rule: what is not rare is worthless. If everyone is special, no one is. That is why blue-chip projects exist. Humans need hierarchy even in chaos. Yap also had superior stones. System creates elites to survive. But elite status inflates too. Everyone wants to be first, everyone wants to be special, and the bubble grows again. This cycle never ends because fear never disappears. All of this feeds on fear of the future. Humans cannot see tomorrow. Uncertainty creates anxiety. Money is sold as medicine. If you invest, you are smart. If you buy, you are safe. Fear hides behind the word strategy to look respectable. On Yap, people feared hunger and exclusion. Stones reduced fear. Today, numbers do. Zeros in accounts feel powerful, but this power is psychological. History proved this many times. Currencies collapsed, banks failed, states fell, but fear always remained. Crypto promised freedom from states. Trust code, they said. But code is written by humans. Where humans exist, manipulation exists. Influencers move markets, whales control prices, and humans cling to the idea that someone knows better to feel safe. Uncertainty is scary, and fear keeps the system alive. Blind belief inflates it until explosion. Yap stayed balanced because it was closed. Global markets are open. Everything changes fast. One tweet can wipe billions, and mass belief collapses instantly. Humans live in FOMO mode. Yap was slow. No one got rich overnight. Slowness allowed thinking. Now markets move in seconds. Decisions become emotional. Emotional decisions are rarely smart, yet people repeat them every day. Are humans ready for this speed? Our brains are ancient. Stories are now artificial. Algorithms target weak points. Yap stories were natural. Artificial stories die faster, so volatility never ends. One day everyone buys, the next day everyone sells. Builders always win. They turned fear into profit. On Yap, everyone was equal. Now power centers exist. Corporations write stories, others follow. This is the dark side of invisible ownership. You think what you are shown, not what you choose freely. Choice feels free but is framed. Yap had real choice because information was limited. Now information is filtered, humans become manipulable, you feel free but are inside a mechanism. Fear turns you into a buyer, and buyers keep the system alive. As long as this loop continues, systems repeat the same fate. Inflate, crash, repeat. Humans don't change, only tools change. Stone to gold, gold to paper, paper to code. Fear stays, power stays, control stays. That is the eternal spring. Now go deeper. Humans think they are free but act from fear. Don't miss out. That is conditioning. On Yap, conditioning was local. Now it is global. Social media shows what to want, who to admire, what to fear, and you follow unconsciously. Algorithms are the new priests. They decide what you see. You think it's random, but it's designed. Middle Ages promised heaven. Now markets promise financial freedom. Same mechanism, different language. Humans always seek a savior. Profit, leader, technology, something to lean on. Fear of responsibility makes people cling to systems. On Yap, life was simple. Now it is complex. Humans want simple solutions. Get rich fast is an escape fantasy. Unhappy people fall faster. They look for exits. Markets sell traps as exits. On Yap, stones protected because community was real. Now numbers hide behind screens. Everyone looks successful online and you feel behind. People take risks and call it courage. But often it is desperation. One wrong decision can ruin a life. Debt, pressure, shame, pile up. The system becomes identity. You are not a person anymore. You are a number. The system sees you as a user. Cold world. Inner void is filled with noise. The system prevents silence because silence creates awareness. On Yap, identity and ownership were connected. Now anonymity kills responsibility. No one cries, only flow exists. Rocks are now contracts. Running never ends because finish line moves. The system loves unsatisfied humans. Digital abundance cheapens meaning. When everything is special, nothing is. Approval addiction grows. Algorithms control desire. Belief is centralized but invisible. You follow the flow because comfort feels good. But comfort kills thinking. People lose attention, and attention is the most valuable resource. Both Yap and NFTs rely on agreement. The difference is speed. Humans are not built for this speed. Change is sold as progress. Centerless crowds are easy to control. Yap had a center, community. Now networks dissolve responsibility. Someone directs the flow, but you rarely ask who. Truth starts with discomfort. And here is the hardest part. There is no savior. Technology will not save you. A new system will create the same problems with the same humans. What must change is perspective. If humans don't understand that value lives in relationships, not objects, we will reach emptiness again. This time emptiness will be covered by brighter screens, faster networks, and bigger numbers. But inside it will feel the same, because the story will change, but the human heart will not.